Hi, I'm Simon Kidd from Snowbee, and today we've come to Blakewell, a stunning fishery here in the north part of Devon. The weather's very warm and sunny. The fishing here can be excellent. I think it might be a little bit challenging today, but we like a challenge and I can't wait to get started. Before we start fishing, I want to take you through a couple of simple assembly tips. My rod of choice today is a 9'6" weight, which is great on a water such as this. There's lots of variation, lots of different places to fish from, lots of different depths and everything else, but a 9'6" weight will cover most options. My reel and line, which we've talked about assembly of before, is ready to go, and I've got it set up for left-hand wind. Lock it up on there, and I'm now just going to release the drag a little bit so I can actually pull some line off. Pull a little bit of line off so I can thread it up through the rings, and I put a fold in the line here. A lot of people wonder why you do that. Well, it's quite simple. It's easy to thread through for a start, so we go through the two bottom stripper rings here. But there's another advantage too, and that is that when threading it up, it's often so easy to let it go. And if you do let it go, if you've tied a loop, as I've done there, it can slip back down through, and basically putting a loop in the end prevents it from doing so. As we go up through the rings, it's important that we're careful as we reach the tip, which is obviously the sensitive part of the rod. We've got the loop still there, we come out through the tip ring, and what I've seen a lot of people do is at that point they pull it, just like that. And that's the quickest way to break a rod. It's more important to actually pull the line straight out of the end of the rod, like so, until you've got enough to work with. And then you're okay. But putting any strain on that rod there really does break a rod very quickly. Okay, so rod and reel all assembled. Just a quick recap. In fact, I'm going to tighten the drag here a little bit because we did undo that to get the line off. We want to play fish. We folded the line, put it through the rings carefully. We were very careful when we got to the tip that we didn't damage the tip. And my choice of line, as I said, was the twin colour fly line here. We've got lots of floating options in the XS series, and I say my line of choice is the twin colour. But if you want more details about what's on there, go and visit the website. There's plenty of options there that we could have used. We're now ready to put the leader on, a fly, and start fishing. My choice of leader for the moment is fluorocarbon, 7 pounds. I could have gone a bit lighter. In conditions like today, I probably would have liked to have done, but there's quite a lot of weed, and some of the fish in here are quite decent. If we catch a big one, we don't want to then go losing it. So 7 pounds is my choice, leader choice for the moment. I'm going to pull off about length of rod, a little bit more, about 10 feet, something like that. Nip the end off. And simply tie it to the loop on the end here. To secure my leader, I'm going to put it through the loop and tie a 6/10 tucked half blood knot. Tuck it back through there, through that bit. I'm going to wet it slightly. And pull it together. And that's the leader secured. There's a tab here we've left off. I'm going to snip that off with the nippers, like so, nice and tidy. And there's a good secure knot. That's not going to let us down. Okay, I'm ready to put a fly on now. As I say, the leader's a little bit heavy. We're going to start with a dry. It's the easiest way to start casting and everything as well, but I've got a sneaking suspicion that damsels are going to be the way forward here today. There's plenty of them about. They're all over the water, and I think that might be the option. And for that, this is ideal. My choice of fly here is a bits. It's a claret bits, really popular fly for dry fly fishing in many conditions. I'm just going to put it on. I'm going to use my JB knot for this exercise. Quick loop and loose end through that loop 3 times. The benefit of this knot is there's no pigtailing or anything when you pull it up, and it's proven to be a very strong knot indeed. There you go. Having said that, I have got a little bit of pigtailing there, but I'm not too worried about that much. That's not too bad. Again, I'm going to nip off the loose end. Fly attached, ready to go fishing. I'm going to put a little bit of grease on there, that's all, to keep it floating. Lots of options on the marketplace for this. Use it quite sparingly. Just finger and thumb, like so. Keep the top part of the fly nice and buoyant, and keep the floatant away from the hook itself, because I want that to sit in the surface. What I'll also do, I'm now going to swap my hands over, is put a little bit of degreaser on the leader here, so it takes it off the surface like so. And that's going to help it cut through the surface film, and then the fish won't see the leader on the top of the water. All they'll see is the fly. Okay, we're ready to start fishing. In fact, I've just noticed there's a lovely ripple just picked up as the breeze has lifted a little over there, and a great opportunity to do a bit of dry fly fishing. But before we move to that, I think we're going to have a look first at a few little casting techniques and tips. And first and foremost, and most imperative, I'm going to put my sunglasses on, because with fly fishing and flies going around your head all the time, it's really, really important that we wear something. And with polarizing sunglasses like we've got here, I'm now looking at fish actually moving under the water over there. It's really handy too. The important thing about fly casting is to realise that the rod is actually a spring, and it's the loading of that spring that delivers the cast, like so. To load that spring, we force cast, and the fly line itself provides enough weight to flex it, and as the rod unflexes, it then delivers the cast, like so. On this particular line, the optimum head weight is where the blue and the white part of the fly line actually meet, and at the tip of the rod. So that's saying the optimum head weight on a 6 weight for this rod and this line is when that blue is at the tip of the rod, and that will then deliver the perfect cast. Before we start to reach the casting point and getting the line aerialised and so on, of course we have to get enough line out of the rod to start with. So there's a couple of things we need to learn here. First of all is getting some line out on the water, which is quite simple, and then to do the roll cast, which is a basic fundamental cast at any time in fly fishing, which enables you to feed some line out through the rod tip and start getting some line aerialised to begin your cast. Okay, so we're ready to make the cast. We'll put the line out on the water, and we'll pull some line off the reel. And to get enough out here, we'll just work it out, work a little line out, and then we do one of the simple basic casts to start with, and that's a roll cast. Just got to roll the line out like that to get some line out on the water. Just roll it out. And the secret of the roll cast is to make a D behind us, like so. That D, the weight of the line in the D, is enough to flex the rod in order to shoot the line out. Have a look now. There's the shape of the D, that flexes the rod as it comes forward, and then the spring uncoils and throws the line forward into a cast. To make the overhead cast, there are a few simple steps. We lift the rod gently and start the line coming towards us, and you start to peel the line off the water. We then pluck it, pause and tap, and that's the overhead cast. It's simple and might look easy, but timing is everything. So going back through the exercise, the 4 components. We start with the rod tip down near the water, we peel the line, it starts to come back towards us. We pluck the line off the water into that position, that's the pluck. Go back to the pluck. We pluck it off the water, and then we pause it. We pause it behind us, which gives us enough time for the line to straighten behind us and load the rod in the back cast, like so. So it's peel, pluck, pause, and now we're ready to bring it forward, and that's the tap. And that tap exercise, imagine you're hitting a nail into a wall. It's that flex coming forward, and it's about the stop as much as anything. It's not a lot of effort needed, it's just timing. So it's peel, pluck, pause, tap, and the line unfolds. And the secret is to get the line and the rod and everything moving off through a single plane, keeping it in that plane so we don't lose any energy, and then delivering it back through the same plane. We peel, pluck, pause, keeping it in the same plane, and tap to go forwards. And the line straightens out across the water. Getting this back cast is absolutely crucial to the overhead cast itself. It can go terribly wrong in the back cast. Many people will go back here and they'll lift off, and the rod will go back past the vertical there. I'll show you what happens when it does. Rod goes back past the vertical, the line comes around behind us, it'll touch the water behind. If we've got water behind, it'll touch on the bank. You bring it forwards and it's horrible, absolutely horrible. The line will land in a heap in front of you like that, and if you've got line going down in front of you, it's generally the back cast that you've got wrong. One of the most common pitfalls is in A, using too much energy in the cast, and B, letting that rod go back past the vertical. I'll show you what I mean here, and what it looks like when it happens. You can put as much effort into this cast as you want and it's not going to go anywhere. Watch this. I lift it off, and the rod's gone back past the vertical, I come and bring it forwards and I put loads of energy in it, and it's only gone out just in front of me. You'll hear it said many, many times, it's all about, overhead casting is all about timing. It's not about effort. I'm going to roll it out. Got the wind in my face now. I'm going to lift it off and put it out in front of me. No effort whatsoever. And it's gone out beautifully and nice and straight in front of me. Peel, pluck, pause and tap. And having that angle, slight angle on the back cast is really, really important. And then when we come forwards, it's so easy to push it into the water. We want to cast at the far bank, and then the line lets you drop in the right place. It'll straighten and then drop. So it's pluck, pause, tap. Like that. For many people, when starting out, 15, 20 yards of line is actually quite a lot of line to handle. And I mentioned earlier, my choice of line today was, to start with, was the twin colour line, where the blue running line is at the back of the front head, and the front head itself is the optimum weight for this rod when fully extended to that point where the blue line reaches the tip of the rod. As I say, many people won't initially start to cast that far, but I'm going to show you now the full cast when we've got the rod loaded to the optimum head weight. So I'm going to lift off and I'm going to load the rod where the blue running line is in the tip, just about the tip, which is there, and then I'm going to release the cast. Now, as you can see, I'm cast at the lily pad over there then. That could have been a rising fish. We've virtually cast the line to the far side of the lake over there. Very rare would you need to do that. But by loading the rod to the right point, distance becomes no problem anymore. So there's the loading point there, as you can see. We go back past that and go into the overhead cast. And I'm using a little technique here called a double haul to actually help me cast, which is something we can cover much later. That's an advanced cast or technique if you like, but it's going to help me get that line out properly. We go into the haul, one false cast, and then we put it out there. Okay, we're ready to lift off. We'll go to one false cast to extend the head, and now we'll put it on the lily pad, like so. Hello, Rich.
Simon.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Richard has just joined us now from the fishery here. Richard's one of the co-owners of Blakewell Trout Fishery. Rich, you've obviously been in this a long time. I've just been going through some of the benefits of starting out and on casting techniques and that sort of thing. Have you got any suggestions for people that are just starting out?
Well, we see lots of anglers here, Simon, over the course of the season, and some are more experienced than others, of course, and we do offer them tuition. One of the main faults we find with anglers these days, or some of the guys that are just starting, is they're not generating enough line speed. That is, they're not picking the line off the water fast enough, and they're going too far back on the back cast. The line needs to straighten behind you, of course. What happens behind you will happen in front of you. So that's one of the main points and the main sort of starting blocks we start from with most anglers.
That's good to hear it coming from you, because I've mentioned some of those points as well. The fishing today, obviously it's very hot and everything today. I guess the fishing is going to be a little bit tricky.
It's a hot day, sun's up, sun's high, the lake's looking good, but the fish are about, they're sulking. Sun goes down, you get around about 6:30 through to about 11 o'clock and the fishing turns on.
6:30 to 11 o'clock.
You get a hatch of fly, and normally, certainly, from 9 o'clock onwards, I can sort of guarantee some good sport. You will catch fish earlier than that, of course, but you've got to fish for them properly. It's fine lines, a stealth approach. The fish aren't silly; they can see you. The water's clear, it's hot. They're not interested.
Well, we brought a couple of lines and outfits today. I've got the floating outfit here. I've got a sinking one probably ready for later as well. Rich, we probably won't be here by 6 o'clock, so I think we'll have a challenge ahead of us, but we look forward to that certainly.
Yeah, good stuff.
Okay, so we looked at the basics of casting, and we're now going to go and try and catch some fish. I must say, there's a nice ripple here for me now, which would be quite good for the dries, but I've got a sneaking suspicion we're going to catch the fish a little bit deeper down if we're going to get any success. And there's very few fish moving at all, but I have seen a few sneaking around near the shadow, so we're going to have a walk up here, have a look where the trees are, where there's a bit of shadow still, and see how we get on. Right, I've just covered where I've seen a fish rising over there, or moving over there rather. It's not rising, and it's taken no notice of me, but I have seen another one a bit further out. So I'm going to lift off, peel, pluck, pause and tap. And I'm going to lift off again and extend it a bit further. That's better. See if we get any more interest out of this one, but I've got a feeling we're going to have to be on nymphs. Cover him again. Let's just move down a little bit. Peel, pluck, pause, tap. And the line shoots out of there. That's covered him. Okay, we started on the floating line. It is very, very bright today, and there's just nothing moving on the top at all. There is a little ripple, which is quite encouraging, but there's nothing moving. There's no fly life either. There's nothing coming off or hatching off the top to encourage the fish onto the top, or nothing coming off the trees either. We've tried the nymph just under the surface, still on the floating line, and had no success on that either yet. So I think what I'm going to do is, a little bit of weed there, is going to change to a slightly sinking line. There are fish moving around. They're deeper down in the water, which is often the case on a bright day, and see if we can't catch them that way. Okay, so we've had a try with the floating line. We've been using a 6-weight and so on, and it's been tough, very tough at the moment. It's very, very bright, and I'm convinced that going down a little bit in the water will actually help us to catch some fish. So what I've done is I've made up a separate outfit here. I've made up a sinking line, and I'm going to put it on a 7-weight rod as opposed to my 6-weight here, which is what I'd use for small waters or larger waters as well, and from the boat too. There are lots of options I could have chosen in terms of sinking lines. The excess range is a vast range. There's over 50 lines in the excess range, and as I said already, if you want to check out for more details, just go to the website. But for options on sinking lines, I could have chosen a sinking tip, a slow sinking line that's about 1.5 inches per second, or a clear intermediate line, which is probably could work quite well today because it's very bright, and that clear lines actually could be an advantage from a stealth point of view, and that sinks at about 2.5 inches per second. There is another option I could have chosen, which is quite popular on small still waters like this, where you don't have a lot of a back cast, although where I'm looking to cast I think will be okay, and that's the extra distance line, which is made up of 3 different weights, 3 different densities. There's a floater, an intermediate and a fast sinking option, and they've got a short head, so as I say, you can pop them out in all sorts of cramped areas where you've got no back cast and get a really good cast in and cover plenty of water. However, for this particular exercise I've gone for the countdown lines, and in the countdown series there are 4 lines. There's one that sinks at 2 inches per second, one at 3 inches per second, one at 5 and one at 7, and basically by counting down once you've cast out, you can actually gauge your depth very carefully. So I'm going for the slower sinking option. I've chosen a 2 inches per second, 7-weight, and I'm going to put it on the, well, I have put it rather on the Geo 10-foot 7-weight, and we'll see how we get on with that. I've also, by the way, put on a different fly here. I put on a nymph. It's got a bit of a tail on it, a little bit of weight in the head, so I've got plenty of movement to entice a take. We'll see how we get on. Nice rainbow Blake quill, beautiful fin fish and everything. I've just changed tactics, however. I've gone to a slightly sinking line and just twitched back a pink fly, which is a bit of a stalking pattern I use sometimes, and a bit of weight on it, giving a bit more movement, and did the trick straight away. So Rich, what makes Blake quill one of the best fisheries in the southwest?
Well, we've been here a long time now, Simon. We've been here for nearly 30 years, and I just think it's attention to detail. I've got a very good team, and that's very important. We have offered our anglers a decent product over the years, in a very natural surrounding. And at the end of the day, you're only as good as the last fisherman that walks out of your gate at night. So it's just attention to detail, certainly.
Obviously, being in the West Country as well, we have days like today when it's boiling hot and everything. That must be a bit of a tester for you as well.
Yes, it is. Today's not been an overly busy day. It's been hot. A lot of folk on the beach. It's holiday season, and the water's very clear at the moment. It's bright. The sun's up, and the fish are sulking. But the discerning angler perhaps will come early in the morning or late in the evening and fish the evening.
But there's never a shortage of fish here. I mean, every time I've ever come here, there's always been plenty of fish to look at and really good quality too.
Yeah, there's plenty of fish about. We do try hard, both browns and rainbows, and it's keeping the stocking density right. Our average size so far this month is £3.6 for rainbows and just about £4 for the brown trout, which perhaps is a bit heavy, but it's in the angler's favour. The quality is important as well. We are sticklers for quality. I mean, if it's not right, it doesn't go in the lake.
And you rear all your trout fishery on site here, do you not?
We grow everything from fry, and so we know exactly what we've got here. There's total biosecurity and quality control. Yeah, absolutely, very important. Certainly in today's market.
Yeah, and then I guess you have a weed cut now and again.
Yeah, we have a policy here and lake management, which is another part of our business, and certainly here at Blakewell, it's a constant process during the summertime, and we're cutting weed probably at least once a month throughout the season and keep the place clear. It is challenging, and sometimes last summer was very hot. It's going to be hot now. It is hot. It can cause problems sometimes, but we try and keep on top of it.
Well, I'm sure the anglers that visit here won't be disappointed whatever time of year they come. And I think Blakewell for me always holds plenty of really good fish, and always look forward to coming.
Well, it's nice to hear, Simon, and hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more of you. So yeah, once again, thanks.
Thanks.
Great.
Well, there you have it. Another fine rainbow out of Blakewell fishery today. This one went for the sinking line. I went for the black fly on the sinking line, bit of movement from the gold head and everything else, like the others before him. Unfortunately, the bigger fish today, they've eluded us. There's some massive rainbows and browns in here too. We saw one jump in just now. But it's been great fun, fantastic quality fish, wonderful fishery here and great weather too. So that concludes a great day's fishing here. Hope you've enjoyed it, found it useful, and don't forget if there's anything you've seen here or any other products, Snowbee products you want to have a look at, check out the website. Thank you.